Hello and welcome again, students. Chapter 1, Statistics, Collection of Data. Students, in last video lecture we studied the advantages and disadvantages of direct inquiry. As you all aware that there are three methods of collecting primary data. Number 1, direct inquiry. Number 2, indirect inquiry. And number 3, method of questionnaire. Method of questionnaire by post and method of questionnaire by numerator also. As we all know, students, the coin has two sides always. One is positive while the another is negative. There are few advantages while there are few disadvantages are also there of any particular aspect or any method. My dear friends, today in this particular video lecture I would like to explain the advantages and disadvantages of indirect inquiry. These all videos I prepare for my sake of convenience, and my YouTube channel is Sanjay Dattani. You can watch all videos and subscribe also to the channel. So, advantages and disadvantages of indirect inquiry. First, I would like to recap you the concept of indirect inquiry. In direct inquiry, the researcher himself or herself directly moved or numerator appointed by the researcher, they can directly move towards the field, collect the inquiry or data and share it. But in indirect inquiry, my dear friends, it is not possible to reach one-to-one in the field and collect the whole data from all the respondents. So the indirect inquiry is such inquiry when instead of directly going for inquiry in the field, but from the third party or from third person, we approach that third person or third party, inquire about the data whatever we require, ask them about our need and collect the data from third person or third party for our related inquiry, then such inquiry is called indirect inquiry. Indirect inquiry, we directly move towards the field, researcher or numerator appointed by researcher directly move in the field, while in indirect inquiry we can approach the third party or third person, and from that third party or third person we collect the data. Such inquiry is called indirect inquiry. Suppose we want to get the information of the crop of farmers of particular village. If we move directly village to farmer of a particular village and take the information from that farmer directly, then such inquiry is called direct inquiry. But instead of doing that, when we approach the Talati cum Mantri of that particular village, the Talati cum Mantri of the village have the whole data of the crops of the farmer of particular village. When we move towards that particular Talati cum Mantri of that village and we get the data of the crop of the farmers, definitely we get all the data, then such inquiry, my dear friends, is called indirect inquiry. Now let's see the advantages and disadvantages of indirect inquiry. The first advantage, my dear students, of indirect inquiry is it is most suitable when inquiry is wide See, when the scope is wide, too much big scope is there, so many respondents are there, then it is but obvious that direct inquiry is not feasible, or direct inquiry is not preferable or not advisable. In such circumstances, my dear students, indirect inquiry helps us most, and indirect inquiry is the preferable and advisable, most advisable tool in such circumstances. So when the scope of the inquiry is wide, then indirect inquiry is preferable or advisable. That is the first advantage of indirect inquiry, that it gives fruitful result in the wide area scope of inquiry. The second is when respondent is not willing to give information. Sometimes what happens, we need data or inquiry from X person or from Y person. When we move directly towards that particular X or Y person, but he or she is not actually willing to provide the information. Whatever the reason may be, either they have personal problem or whatever, we try them, convince them, clear them about our intention, everything is done, but he or she is not able to give or willing to give the information. In such circumstances, friends, the indirect inquiry is the ideal weapon or tool to get the information, because instead of directly moving towards that particular respondent or person, we indirectly got that information from third party or third person, and we are able to get the information whatever we required for that particular our research work. The third is less cost. As we all know, the direct inquiry have so many respondents move, we have so many expenses there, but in indirect inquiry it is less costlier. It is the important benefit of indirect inquiry that we need the less expense. From less expense we got the information. So it is helpful to us, fruitful to us to get the information in less cost. In modern time period, when the cost of inquiry or data collection become more and more, at that time it is the important benefit of indirect inquiry that we have less cost of the indirect inquiry. See, as our previous example I provide, in direct inquiry we have to move to the farmer, farm to farm. It becomes so much costly. While in indirect inquiry, only we have to approach or contact that one person, that is Talatik or Mantri of that particular village. So it becomes very much less cost in indirect inquiry. Less time period. It is but obvious in direct inquiry, field inquiry is there. We have to move towards each and every person directly, or numerator appointed by the researcher also have to move directly towards face to face. So it required more time period, while in indirect inquiry our resource person is very limited, third party, third person is only there. So it requires less time. Again, less energy, less cost is there than direct inquiry, less time required than direct inquiry, less energy is required than direct inquiry. Less energy required, because when we want to conduct the inquiry of more person, it requires more energy. And when we have to collect the information from less source, then it requires, obviously it requires less energy. So another benefit of indirect inquiry is it requires less energy. Fifth most important advantage of indirect inquiry is it is useful for different government departments. When government have to collect so much information from different departments, at such time if we adopt the direct inquiry method, then it requires a lot time, lot energy and lot cost also. See, for government departments the budget is very much limited. They have to work with the low budget. So in such circumstances it is advisable Instead of making direct inquiry, we can use the indirect inquiry as a useful weapon or tool for different government departments to get the information from the third party or third agency, so that they can easily fulfill the, yes, if any sensitive matter is there, then we can refer the direct inquiry. But for different government organization departments, there are lots of wide area is there for collection of data. So for wide area is there, that's why the government departments, it is helpful indirect inquiry for government departments. Friends, this is the talk of the advantages. Now we move towards the disadvantages of indirect inquiry. There are mainly 3 disadvantages of indirect inquiries. See, you have to write these points in your notebook also. In textbook they provide you this particular topic, advantages and disadvantages of indirect inquiry is provided on page number 6, not on page number 5. It is provided on page number 6 actually. On 6 it is provided, but they write long sentences. We have to, I give you the short points. That's why by this particular points you can remember the point easily and you can write the sentence. So the first disadvantage of indirect inquiry is chance of prejudice. My friends, prejudice is everywhere in this society. Prejudice means whatever first impression we have of a particular person, and that impression remains forever. It is not always possible, my friends. Person have intellectual, person change day to day. So never judge others. Never think. So many students come in my experience of this wide experience of in teaching field. So many students come towards me and they say that that student is like this and that student is like that, and I never judge the students. Never judge the people in society also, because we have our limited sense and sometimes we think wrong about the person. That person is not like that. So there is one limitation in indirect inquiry. When we take the information from third party or third person, if that particular third party or third person have prejudice about the person for whom we want to take the inquiry or data, then they are giving wrong information about that particular person. There is a chance of prejudice. It is indirect inquiry. Sometimes I ask one person about the another person, and if that another person have some quarrel with that person from whom I taking the information, so there is a prejudice in the mind of that particular person. So it is a chance of getting a wrong inquiry. So we have, as a researcher or numerator, we have to think all the aspects. Then we have to do the inquiry. Then it gives a proper and fruitful result. So students, the first limitation of indirect inquiry is there is a chance of prejudice in it. The second limitation is chance of biasness. Biasness means jealousy or third party. In Gujarati we say this tejodvesh. Sometimes some people have the great influence, the great personality in staff or in society. Some other people have jealous about that particular person. Biasness is there. Biasness, you know now. It is my and it is there. Bias. So there is a chance of biasness in indirect inquiry, my dear students. When we take the information from third person, that third person has sometimes bias for the person for whom we are taking the information. Then it is possible that we are not getting the proper and accurate information. So there is a chance of biasness in third inquiry, in indirect inquiry, in the last third method. The success is based on the third party. See, the indirect inquiry method is totally like a dependable method. Totally we are dependent on third party. If the third party is genuine, then we got the proper information, accurate information, great information, information in easy form. Directly we got the information. But the third party is not genuine. The third party is dishonest. The third party have bias. The third party have prejudice. The third party have any reason for not giving the proper information. Then our indirect inquiry is not fruitful for us. It gives the reverse result to us, students. So there are some advantages are also there, but few disadvantages are also there, like two sides of coin. So as per our tradition, I provide you the fast recap of the whole video lecture. Today's our point is advantages and disadvantages of indirect inquiry. First advantage is it is most suitable when the inquiry scope is very wide. In wide scope it is very much helpful or advisable. Respondent is not willing to give the information. When directly respondent is not willing to give the information, then by indirect way, but from third party, we can get the information at that time when the respondent is not voluntarily willing to give the information. At that time also, we can adopt the indirect inquiry method. Cost is less, as I discussed you in brief. It is less expensive because we do not have to move from one place to another place, not in the field, so less cost is there, less time is required, time is also less because the scope is limited, energy is less energy we require for this. Useful for different government departments. For different government departments, they have big data, giant data, too much data. In such circumstances, they have required indirect inquiry method. And the limitation or disadvantages of this indirect inquiry method is there is a chance of prejudice. Third party have prejudice about the party for whom we have to get the information. There is a chance of biasness is also there, and it is totally based on the third party. If the behavior of third party is proper and accurate, third party is honest, then this particular indirect inquiry method is successful. If the third party is not honest, third party is dishonest, then third party is not properly giving the information, then this particular method, indirect inquiry method, is not useful to us. So now students, in next video lecture, we have our last topic of chapter 1. We completed chapter 1, and that particular topic of our next video lecture is advantages and disadvantages of questionnaire method. Is all the three methods, that is direct inquiry, indirect inquiry and questionnaire method. Now in next video lecture I explain you the advantages and disadvantages of questionnaire method. After that we have complete our first chapter, that is collection of data, and we move towards our next chapter of statistics. So students, please write down this advantages and disadvantages of indirect inquiry. Advantages, that is most suitable when inquiry is wide, respondent is not willing to give the information, less cost, less time, less energy, useful for different government departments. It is provided widely on page number 6 of your textbook. Disadvantages are the chance of prejudice is there, chance of biasness is there, and it is based on the mood, behavior or the behavior of third party. So thank you students for your cooperation. Thanks. Write down in your book, and we meet in next video lecture. Thanks.